The sun had just begun to rise over the dense mangrove forests of Sundarbans. Golden light spilled through the thick mist, casting shadows on the muddy water and tangled roots. This was the wild land where two of the most feared creatures ruled, the Bengal tigers on land and the massive alligator in the swampy waters. In a remote part of the jungle, 5 young Bengal tigers were roaming together. Something not very common, as tigers are usually solitary. But these 5 were brothers, born in the same litter, raised by a fierce tigress who had recently passed away in a territorial fight. They had no choice now but to stick together for survival. The leader among them was Raka, a muscular, amber-eyed tiger with a deep scar above his nose. He was fearless and always ready to fight. Alongside him were his brothers, Zor, the most aggressive, Veer, calm and clever, Tanu, the youngest and fastest, and Bahim, the strongest, but also the laziest. After 2 days of failed hunts and only a few small birds to share, the group was starving. Raka led them to the edge of the river, where fish often gathered. But something felt off. The air was heavy, silent. Raka crouched low and sniffed. "Something's watching us," he said in a low growl. Zor grunted. "I don't care. I'm hungry. If I see anything that moves, I'm going to tear it apart." Just then, Veer noticed ripples in the water. They weren't random. They were slow, sneaky, deliberate. The kind of movement only one animal made in this region. "That's not fish," Veer whispered. "That's an alligator." But this wasn't just any alligator. It was Gatternash, a massive ancient beast known among the jungle animals as the Silent Death. He had survived decades of fights with crocodiles, snakes, even jaguars when he was younger. His back was armored with thick scars, and his yellow eyes were sharp with experience. Gatternash had smelled the tigers from miles away. He had been watching them silently, following their trail, waiting for the right moment. And now they had walked right into his territory. As Tanu approached the water, Gatternash made his move, a quick, brutal lunge. The water exploded, jaws wide open, but Tanu was too quick. He leapt back just in time, and the alligator landed with a heavy splash on the muddy shore. The brothers roared, spreading out in a circle. Raka snarled, "You picked the wrong prey, lizard." But Gatternash didn't run. He turned his massive body and faced them, his tail swaying slowly like a whip. The beast was huge, almost as long as 2 of them combined. His thick, armored skin looked like rock, and his jaw could crush bone in seconds. Beam tried to scare him off with a loud growl, stomping the ground. "Back off, or we make you dinner." Gatternash didn't even blink. Instead, he snapped his jaws once, loud, sharp, like a warning. The sound echoed through the trees. Zor, already on edge, lunged first, aiming for the side. His claws slashed across the gator's body, but they barely scratched through the thick skin. Before Zor could back off, Gatternash twisted his neck and clamped down on Zor's back leg. The tiger screamed in pain. Beam charged in, using all his weight to slam into Gatternash's side. The impact was enough to loosen his grip on Zor, who rolled away limping. Blood dripped from his leg, and rage filled his eyes. Now it was a real battle. Raka and Veer flanked the gator, waiting for him to turn, while Bhim and Tanu tried to distract him. Gatternash kept twisting, swinging his tail and snapping his jaws. Every hit was dangerous. One tail swipe sent Tanu flying into a bush, but the tigers didn't give up. Raka jumped on Gatornash's back and started clawing hard. Bits of old scar tissue flew off. Gatornash let out a guttural roar and tried to roll, but Peem grabbed his tail with his jaws, slowing him down. Veer lunged at the head, aiming for the eyes. Suddenly, Gatornash twisted and threw Raka off. He rolled toward Peem and slammed him with his snout. Peem groaned and backed away, winded. Veer got close enough to slash one of the gator's eyes. That did the trick. Now half blind and angry, Gatornash lost focus. Tanu, back on his feet, used his speed to attack from behind. He bit into the back leg, causing Gatornash to lose balance. Raka got back up and leapt again, this time biting deep into the neck. Blood spilled into the mud. Gatornash